And you were heading into a very serious music career. Walk us through navigating the many disappointments you experienced after massive wins, being in front of massive record executives and, having that one showcase where the gear wasn't there and the dancers walked out, what happened, Sam?
Bro, man, I just, there's an aspect of purpose that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with God. There are moments in your life where you can be amazing at something and give it everything you have and it be great, but God not want it and close the door completely. I call that grace, but it's divine intervention. You cannot strategize your way into something that God doesn't want for you. It just doesn't happen. That's the part that we can't control. It doesn't matter how many self-help books you read.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many seminars you go to. It doesn't matter how many 1 + 1 = 2, whatever. You cannot out-strategize God. It's just that he's going to do what he wants to do, whether you like it or not. And for me, that was music. My whole life, I thought I was going to be a musician. My entire family thought that I would have record deals. And I did have some record deals. I had gotten to the top of industries. Motown, Universal, Alicia Keys. The top of the music industry. I had the songs. I probably have written up to this point 2,000 to 3,000 songs in my life. Worked with some of the greats, but it just wasn't what God had for me. And I kept doing showcases and God kept shutting the door. Like I would do amazing. And the executive would say, man, we love you. This is awesome. Let's pursue it. And something crazy would happen. And we would get the right people in the right place at the right time. And the mics wouldn't be there. And Sam, we love you. We would sign you. But we just signed somebody that looks exactly like you, that plays the same instrument and does the same type of music. We can't have twins on a label. And I'm like, oh, and then they show me a picture. I'm like, you're right. He just continued to shut the door of my dream, even though I was amazing at it, because he had something else in mind. And that's when we talk about the idea of surrender, that I had to surrender to who he wanted me to be and stop chasing who I wanted to be. And when I finally did that, I started to discover that what he had for me was greater than what I even wanted anyway. It's the reason I'm on this podcast. Even today, I would not have been here had he not redirected me to where I'm at. I wouldn't have this book had he not redirected me to where I'm at. I would not have experienced everything that I experienced. But while he was redirecting me, it felt like a death. But it was actually the beginning of life. So,
real practically, because what you're saying is so important, folks, I just want to keep circling back to this. The Lord, he's a father, right? If it matters to us, I believe it matters to him, Sam.
Yeah.
It's just to say, I feel like there are people listening right now who are saying, I'm frustrated in life. I'm pushing against this door. It doesn't seem to be opening. You're telling me that a greater story, like there's this fulfilling life ahead. How? And I think I want to say that for people that are frustrated in their story right now, begin to ask the Lord, what do you want me to know about this? Perhaps, like I had alluded to earlier, Proverbs 16:3, when our thoughts become agreeable to his will, we're able to see and have vision for the greater story that is probably better for us had we had the opportunity and ability to navigate and architect our own story. And again, it's not to say that God's all about smashing the things that matter to us, but is it the willingness through surrender to say, man, Lord, okay, I'm going to stop pushing. And maybe a simple question would be this then, Sam. How do we know when it's time to give up on a dream? How did you know when it's time to when it was time to give up on music? That's a tough question.
It is. And I think for me, and the only reason I can answer this quickly is because I've had to give it up. And I've helped a lot of people give up their dreams for his. So I can answer it quickly, but it does not come quickly and easily. You know it's time to give up on a dream when you've done all that you can, and it doesn't work. When you've done all you can, and only you can determine what that is.
Yep.
For me, it was, I got to the top. For me, not just once, 3 times.
Yep.
For me, it was, I have the songs. For me, it was, I've got the managers. God's not in this anymore. You'll know when he's done, and you'll know when it's time for you to be done, when there's nothing else you can do. And I think people, one, I think we all know that, but I think we all know when we've done all we can. But I think there are many people that live in disbelief of that. And that now they just want to hold on to something that's dead because they're afraid of what else there could be. Well, what if I'm something that I never knew I was? What, this is all I know. How could there ever, and what it becomes is actually a battle, not of will you let go of the dream, but will you trust God? And it comes down, and we convince ourselves, no, it's just my dream and I'm not working. It's like, no, you've already run into so many brick walls in this. You know it's time to end. I always say follow the favor. That's another clue when we talk about developing the eyes. When all seems lost, where's the favor at in your life? What doors are actually opening? And for all of us, we have things that are opening. It doesn't look the same, but favor. What are people asking you to do? What are some things that people always ask you to do? What are some things that you do that people just they love for you to do it and they chase you down? What are the current opportunities in front of you right now that will help you declutter? When we talk about practicality, declutter your head from what is God saying? Well, what is already open? And if you can follow the open doors and let go of the things that aren't opening and the doors that keep closing, go ahead and let that go and surrender to this direction. Things will start to make sense.